Baseball isn't just about the players on the field, it's also about the fans in the stands. And sometimes these MLB fans can get a little too wild. From girls flashing for distraction to a fan versus coach beatdown, we're counting down 20 MLB moments where fans took it way too far. Let's start with something a little too overboard that got the whole internet talking. This fan brought a whole new meaning to the phrase stealing the show by shaking her assets at the Cardinals pitcher. I don't think this girl expected to get caught on camera. Did it work? Maybe, maybe not. But it does earn a spot on this list. Absolutely. With antics like these, it's no wonder fans often take center stage. Let's keep this countdown rolling. At 19, we got a splash and crash. Some fans will do anything for a souvenir, but one guy took it literally. After Joe Panic's home run into McCovey Cove, this fan dove right in, forgetting he had a phone, wallet, and who knows what else on him. Congrats on the ball, buddy. Hope it was worth the plunge. Speaking of fans who went overboard, let's talk about some fan interference in the 03 playoffs. Steve Bartman's infamous interference in 2003 wasn't just a mistake, it was the mistake. His grab for a foul ball derailed the Cubs' NLCS hopes and sent fans into a frenzy. It's a moment Cubs fans will never forget, and Bartman probably wishes he could take it back. The lesson learned? Sometimes it's better just to stay in your seat and drink your beer. Let's check out our 17th countdown when Curtis Granderson had an unexpected holding call by a fan. Granderson was just doing his job when a fan decided to quite literally throw shade by grabbing him on the back. Granderson kept his cool. Let's just say this fan didn't stick around long enough to explain themselves. Pro tip, if you want to get a player's attention, maybe try asking for a selfie. Speaking of getting people's attention, here's a moment when even the umpire had had enough. At number 16, we got a fan ejection. Ump Bob Davidson wasn't having any of it when one fan's heckling reached new heights. Davidson turned the tables and gave him the boot. Yeah, you heard that right, an ump ejected a fan. Now that's what we call flipping the script. Take notes, folks. Heckling doesn't just have consequences at the comedy club. Speaking of consequences, let's dive into a moment that's less about ejections and more about distractions. In one of the most infamous moments in World Series history, two fans decided to reveal themselves. This dynamic duo flashed the field, turning America's pastime into a daytime strip club. Oof. And if you've ever been to a daytime strip club, you know it could get a whole lot worse. From World Series antics to high-flying stunts, let's talk about a fan who made the field his personal playground. Here's one Orioles fan who decided to channel his inner track star, which made the crowd go wild. Zigzagging across the field, he dodged security like a pro, until he didn't. Props to the effort, but man, this isn't a track meet, it's a ball game. Speaking of questionable judgment, here's what happens at number 13 when fans take heckling to the extreme. Baseball souvenirs are prized possessions, but one fan didn't just want the ball, he wanted to embarrass the outfielder. After snatching a catch from a Rockies outfielder, he made sure they knew who had the upper hand. Talk about adding insult to injury. That fan wasn't just over the line, he erased it completely. If that isn't going too far, let's talk about the day a midday drink that turns into a chaotic beer shower. Beer and baseball go hand in hand, but for some fans, restraint isn't optional. During a Dodgers game, the two fans channeled their inner frat energy by pouring a beer over each other. Who does that? Beers are usually for cellies, not showers. These two definitely earned their spot near the top half of our list. Up next, let's lighten the mood with a moment where fans' camera flashes get hilariously out of hand. At number 11, we got the selfie queens. These fans turned the ballpark into their personal photo booth. Forget cheering for their team, it was all about angles, lighting, and landing that perfect Insta selfie. While the game carried on, these girls were too busy channeling their inner influencer status.
Do you have to make faces when you take selfies?
Wait, one more now.
Oh, there you go.
Better angle.
Lord.
Every single one is dialed in. Welcome to parenting in 2015.
From influencer selfies to moments where things get a bit more intense, let's see what our top 10 has in store. Justin Verlander isn't one to shy away from confrontation, especially with his own fans. When fans booed manager Brad Ausmus, Verlander let him have it, delivering a glare so intense it could have melted the bullpen. Verlander's stare said it all. If you can't respect the team, maybe the home team fans will have to step in. At number 9, we got a clip that shows you what happens when two Philly fans take an argument to a new low. Literally. It's one thing to chirp with rival fans, but these Phillies fans took it up a notch by getting into a good old-fashioned UFC-style brawl. Hucking haymakers and uppercuts, these fans even got security involved. These boys' nice day at the ballpark took a wild turn into a visit to the drunk tank.
You're my she's trying to go get some food on the top.
Why? All they're trying to do is walk through 5 people because I said something when they came this way instead of going through 4 people that way.
No, you're not. He's being a douche.
I paid for a ticket. Perfect.
I'm entitled to the same thing you are.
You seriously gonna let this happen?
4 people. You came over here.
2 people, 4 people. Do the
We all
math.
tried to go take a piss, my boy. Get the fuck. Oh, what's it?
Lock him up.
From Philly fans' brawls, let's head to Wrigley Field for some more knockout fan interactions. At number 8, we got the Wrigley Field flop. This fan had a little too much beer and not enough balance. After getting knocked out, he flopped around like a fish out of water. The crowd couldn't decide whether to laugh or call a lifeguard. Let's be real. If you can't take a swing, maybe it's better to rethink getting in another fan's face. Speaking of fans falling on their face, let's look at the infamous taser incident. This thrill-seeker turned the field into his personal playground, right until security introduced him to Mr. Taser. His backflip was flawless, but his escape? Not so much. An electrifying performance, just not the kind he hoped for. Let's move on to number 6 with an incident that left everyone stunned. In one of MLB's more ugly moments, 2 fans stormed the field to throw fists with first base coach Tom Gamboa. From out of nowhere, these 2 shirtless idiots tackled Gamboa like a linebacker in a football game. The crowd shook, but the Royals players, well, they came in swinging. Seriously, what was this father-son duo thinking? If you're jumping the fence, at least aim for an autograph, not a felony. Now that we've seen some wild moments, it's time to crank up the chaos. Welcome to the top 5, where fans take going too far to a whole new level. The Kimbrel imitators. Talk about a moment when the crowd proved they could be just as entertaining as the players. Greg Kimbrel sets up for a pitch with his signature stance, only to look up and see the crowd behind home plate doing this. Call it a distraction, comedy, or just a really committed crowd, but these fans nailed it. Kimbrel might have been pitching, but they were throwing the real curveball. From funny imitations to fans crossing the line. Let's step into number 4, where things get a bit more chaotic. Losing a game hurts, but throwing crap onto the field? That's a whole new level of trash. After a tough loss, some fans decided the diamond was their personal garbage dump. Drinks, wrappers, you name it, they tossed it. If you can't handle a loss, maybe leave the snacks at home next time. But enough bad behavior, let's talk about a fan who took a hit harder than most NFL safeties could throw. At number 3, we got the Fenway Demolition Man. Sometimes it's the fans who steal the spotlight, and not in a good way. At Fenway Park, this guy jumped onto the field, throwing his hands up like he just won the World Series until, boom! Security delivered a perfect blindside tackle. It probably earned him a standing ovation in the control room. Well done, security man. Somebody give that guard some pads and throw him on the football field. From spectacular takedowns, let's dive into the number 2 spot. Jose Bautista was all set to make a game-changing play when an overly hyped-up fan decided to step in, literally. As Bautista went for the out, the fan reached out, making Bautista miss the catch. The result? Bautista loses the out, and the fan loses more than just a game ball. He was booed and booted faster than a 100-mile-an-hour fastball thrown down the middle. Moral of the story? Leave the catching to the pros. From meddling hands to a messy catch, here's the number 1 top moment where an MLB fan takes it way too far. The red-tided spandex fan could have gotten on the power play for a tripping call. It was a tight game in Philly. Tensions were high, and a fan decided to make the boldest and dumbest move of the night. He sprints on the field suited up in tights like he was auditioning for a stunt show. Huge mistake. Before he knew it, Mike Curtis steps up for an ultimate clothesline trip. In one swift motion, bam! This fan gets tripped so hard that he probably reconsidered his life choices right there on the turf. It was less of a baseball moment and more of a WWE SmackDown. Lesson learned: don't mess with players, as you might end up as the highlight of a viral blooper reel. And there you have it. 20 times MLB fans stole the spotlight, whether they meant to or not. From wild antics to downright chaos, these moments prove that sometimes the biggest plays happen off the field. What's your favorite or least favorite fan moment in baseball history? Let us know in the comments below. Smack that like button, Subscribe and hit that notification bell for more epic MLB content. Until next time, keep it classy in the stands, fans.